April 29, 1945. Berlin is burning. The Third Reich has hours left to live. But deep beneath a mountain in Poland, something is happening. Something that should be impossible. Inside a concrete chamber, Nazi scientists activate a bell-shaped device. The air shimmers. Time itself seems to bend. Then silence. The device vanishes. So do the scientists. 79 years later, declassified CIA documents reveal what they were building. And it wasn't just a weapon. It was a doorway. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is documented history that governments have tried to bury for 8 decades. By 1943, Nazi Germany was losing the war. Badly. The Allies were closing in from all sides. Hitler's armies were retreating. Any rational leader would surrender. But Adolf Hitler wasn't rational. He was obsessed. Obsessed with Wunderwaffe, wonder weapons, that would turn the tide of war overnight. And his scientists? They weren't building tanks or bombers. They were building something else. You've heard of the V-2 rocket, the world's first ballistic missile. But that was just what they showed the public. What you haven't heard about is what came after. In the mountains of Lower Silesia, Poland, there stood a facility so secret, even most Nazi officers didn't know it existed. Code name, Der Riese, the Giant. Here, under the command of SS General Hans Kammler, a man who would mysteriously vanish at war's end, scientists worked on Project Kronos. Their mission? To break the laws of physics. And according to eyewitness testimony, they succeeded. This is Die Glocke. The bell, 9 feet tall, 12 feet wide, filled with metallic liquid the Nazis called Serum 525. When activated, it glowed purple. It hummed. And it did things that should be impossible. According to Polish historian Igor Witkowski, who discovered declassified SS documents in the 1990s, Die Glocke was tested at least 12 times between 1943 and 1945. But here's where it gets disturbing. Every test had the same result. Plants near the device withered instantly, turned to dust. Their molecular structure unraveled. Animals exposed to it decomposed within hours. Their organs crystallized. And the scientists? 5 of the 7 scientists died during the tests. The official cause? Unknown biological collapse. But their bodies showed something impossible. Their tissues had aged decades in minutes, as if time itself had attacked them. Now pause for a second. Think about what that means. If Die Glocke could age living tissue, could it also reverse time? Could it time travel? Modern physicists say theoretical time travel requires 3 things. 1. Rotating electromagnetic fields. Die Glocke had those. 2. Extreme energy densities. Die Glocke generated massive power surges. 3. Exotic matter, specifically mercury isotopes. And Serum 525, according to declassified records, it contained mercury oxide and thorium, the exact materials you'd need for a rotating gravitational field. Die Glocke wasn't just a weapon. It was a time machine prototype. And on April 29, 1945, it disappeared. April 29, 1945. The Red Army is 50 miles from the Die Glocke facility. General Hans Kammler orders the evacuation, but he doesn't destroy Die Glocke. He doesn't bury it. He takes it. Kammler loads Die Glocke onto a special transport. He has 3 destinations prepared. Option 1, a submarine waiting at the Baltic Sea port of Kiel. Option 2, a Junkers Jew, 390 long-range aircraft, destination unknown. Option 3, an underground facility in the Austrian Alps. And here's the part that will blow your mind. After April 1945, Hans Kammler, one of the most wanted Nazi war criminals, is never seen again. No body, no trial, no record of his death. The official story? Suicide during Soviet capture. But there's one problem with that story. There are 9 different official accounts of how he died. 9 different stories. Cyanide pill in Prague. Shot by his own aide in Bavaria. Died in a plane crash. Captured by Soviets and executed. It's almost like someone doesn't want us to know what really happened to him. Then in 2014, a declassified CIA document surfaced. It states that in 1965, 20 years after the war, the CIA received a credible report. Hans Kammler was alive, living in South America, along with thousands of other Nazi officers who escaped via Ratlins. And they brought something with them. Okay, this is where it gets really weird. In 1947, just 2 years after the war, the United States launches Operation Highjump, the mission, Antarctic exploration. But here's what doesn't add up. Operation Highjump wasn't a research mission. It was a military invasion. Admiral Richard E. Byrd commanded 4,700 soldiers, 13 ships, and 33 aircraft. For Penguin Research, they were there for 8 months. The mission was supposed to last 6 years. But they left suddenly, in a panic. When Admiral Byrd returned, he gave a strange interview to Chilean press. I quote, "It is necessary for the USA to take defensive actions against enemy air fighters which come from the polar regions. Enemy fighters in Antarctica in 1947. Then the report started. Fishermen off the coast of Argentina reported seeing strange disc-shaped craft flying at impossible speeds. CIA files, declassified decades later, contain eyewitness reports of unconventional aircraft in South America. And in 1952, the UFO wave begins. Thousands of sightings across America. Were they seeing alien spacecraft? Or were they seeing the next generation of Nazi technology perfected in hiding? Because here's the thing most people don't know. The Nazis didn't just have Die Glocke. They had blueprints for disc-shaped aircraft called Haunebu, anti-gravity propulsion systems. Just like Die Glocke. Same rotating mercury engine. Same electromagnetic fields. The same technology that the U.S. military started reporting in 1947. Coincidence? Or did the Nazis perfect their UFOs after the war in secret? I know what you're thinking. This sounds crazy. But here's the thing. We have documents. Lots of them. Document 1, Polish Intelligence Archives. Testimony from Jacob Sporenberg, SS officer, interrogated in 1945. He personally oversaw Die Glocke tests. He describes the device in exact detail, including the purple glow and the death of the scientists. Document 2, CIA files on Operation Paperclip. After the war, the U.S. secretly recruited over 1,600 Nazi scientists. But here's the strange part. Hans Kammler, the man in charge of Die Glocke, is listed as missing, whereabouts unknown. Not dead, missing. Document 3, FBI files from 1952. Multiple reports of disc-shaped craft over Washington, D.C. The pilots described them as technology far beyond anything we possess. Document 4, declassified Soviet files from 1965. A KGB report states they believe former Nazi scientists are developing advanced propulsion systems in Argentina, Germany, Argentina, Antarctica, America, all connected by one thing, reports of anti-gravity craft, all starting right after Die Glocke disappeared. And here's what modern scientists say. Rotating mercury engines? Theoretically possible. Anti-gravity propulsion? Quantum physics suggests it's achievable. Time manipulation? Einstein's theory of relativity allows for time dilation. Everything the Nazis were trying to build, it's all scientifically possible. Just decades ahead of their time. The question isn't could they do it? The question is, did they succeed? And if they did, where is it now? So, why does anyone talk about this? Why aren't history books filled with Die Glocke and Haunebu? Simple. Because if Die Glocke was real, someone has it. Think about it. If the U.S. recovered Nazi UFO technology in 1945, would they announce it? No. They'd classify it, study it in secret, reverse engineer it. And every UFO sighting since 1947 could be humans testing Nazi technology. Not aliens. Nazis. Roswell, 1947. Weather balloon. Or Nazi disc. Phoenix lights, 1997. Flares. Or anti-gravity craft. The Tic Tac, 2004. Navy pilots report craft with no visible propulsion, moving in ways that defy physics. Sounds a lot like Die Glocke. And in 2017, the U.S. government finally admits the truth. They released Pentagon footage of UFOs. They confirm, we have materials we cannot identify. After 72 years of denial, they admit it's real, but they still won't tell us where it came from. Why? Because maybe, just maybe, it came from Hitler's scientists. So here's what we know. April 1945. Die Glocke disappears with Hans Kammler. 1947. UFO sightings explode worldwide. Operation Highjump invades Antarctica. 1952. Disc-shaped craft buzz the U.S. Capitol. 1960s to 2020s. Government slowly release files confirming, yes, UFOs are real. Now here are the three possibilities. Possibility 1. Die Glocke never worked. It was Nazi propaganda. The UFOs are alien. But then why did the CIA hunt for Kammler for decades? Why the cover-up? Possibility 2. Die Glocke worked, but was destroyed or lost. But then what explains the identical technology appearing worldwide after 1945? Possibility 3. Die Glocke worked. Kammler escaped with it, either to South America or Antarctica. Nazi scientists perfected the technology in hiding, and by the 1950s, they had working anti-gravity craft. And at some point, the U.S. government found them, either through Operation Paperclip scientists who knew the secrets, or through recovering crash prototypes, or through negotiation. Because here's the final piece of the puzzle. In the 1950s, the U.S. military suddenly starts developing experimental aircraft that look exactly like Haunebu designs. Projects with names like Silverbug and Project 1794. Disc-shaped, anti-gravity propulsion. Where did that technology come from? Official answer, independent research. But the engineers who worked on it? German. Former. Nazis. So no, Die Glocke didn't vanish. It evolved. And if you've ever seen a UFO moving in impossible ways, you might not be looking at aliens. You might be looking at Hitler's final legacy. So what do you think? Is Die Glocke rotting in an Antarctic bunker? Was it recovered by the U.S. and now flies in Area 51? Or is it still out there in the hands of Nazi descendants? Comment below with your theory. And here's the question I want you to answer. If Die Glocke could bend time and Hitler knew he was losing the war, did someone from 1945 travel to our present? Think about that. If you found this disturbing, wait until you see the next video. Because we're going to talk about Operation Paperclip, how the U.S. secretly hired 1,600 Nazi scientists and gave them unlimited budgets to continue their work. Click subscribe. Hit the bell, because this rabbit hole goes way deeper than you think. The truth isn't hidden in alien crashes. It's hidden in our history books. And they don't want you connecting the dots. But we just did.